Yes.
All right. Welcome, fellow TFFL owners, to our first ever playoff edition of the TFFL Webcast. We're now sitting here on Wednesday, December 3rd, looking ahead to the 14th week of our season, the first week of playoff action. We've just wrapped up the regular season. I wish we were going to be talking about the aliens. Chief, I'm sorry you're not in it, but quick congratulations to Hank and Berto on making the playoffs this year. We'll be talking more about your teams in a moment. We don't have guests tonight. We're going to focus as much as we can on the playoff action ahead. Let me just kick us off, though. I know you were disappointed last week without a trivia question, so I'll give you a playoff-themed two-part trivia question this week to make up for it. I'll give you partial credit if you can get one half of the equation right here. So I was just admitting to the panel, I'll tell the rest of the league, 6 out of the last 7 seasons now, the aliens have missed the playoffs. It's very maddening. Yet, with 4 straight seasons out of the playoffs, the aliens are not the team with the longest playoff drought. So tell me the franchise with the most consecutive seasons now having missed the playoffs, and tell me the franchise with the most consecutive seasons, current streak, having made the playoffs. These are active streaks I'm looking for. I'll give you the answers later in the show.
That's an active streak, so not historic.
Yeah, not all time.
Beavers is not the answer then.
Correct. And I believe the aliens would be the answer for most consecutive years making it. I'm proud to say. But anyway, so best and worst active streaks. I'll give you the answer later on. Okay, Chief, week 13, I think we probably had several good candidates for you to choose from. Best and worst lineup moves and some very critical action.
Well, yeah, there were certainly some bad decisions. I mean, certainly benching Phillip Rivers for Ryan Tannehill, for example, was a terrible move. However, in the scheme of things, it wouldn't have made a difference. Now, I didn't cost myself a playoff spot by a switch. So I was trying to look for a decision that put somebody into the playoffs or that held them out. So seeing how the Sponge and the Beavers game was a little bit of the one-sided nature, you really have to go to that Devils and Mongols game. For example, the Mongols starting Jason Witten instead of Jordan Reed, cost them 7 points, which would have put them in the playoffs. Can you justify that? Yeah, I guess. I mean, Dallas as a whole just shit the bed on Thanksgiving, and nobody knows that better than Berto does. But nonetheless, that's a roster decision. That's the difference between making the playoffs and not. I mean, look at the Devils. And Devils, had Breeze and a bunch of nothing going on, but they did have a good start with Deshaun Jackson, who, despite his gimpy leg, put up 10 points. As opposed to other defensible starts. For example, if you started Marcus Colston, which maybe several of us would have, or Vernon Davis, which if you hadn't been paying attention this year, maybe somebody would have, they wouldn't have made the playoffs. So I'm going to give the best start to the Devils and the worst to the Mongols. And as a result, the Devils are number 2 seeded team, and the Mongols are top seeded team in the Cash Bowl playoffs. So good on both of you.
Thank you very much. All right, Hank, we're no longer trying to forecast what the playoffs are going to look like. We have some final standings, final draft order, Cash Bowl pairings. Tell us where everybody stands right now.
All right, we'll try and do this with graphics and see how it goes. Here's where we're at. Here's where we end up. Killers, Devils leading the conferences, the 1 and 2 seeds in the playoffs. Then got the other division winners, the Lizards and Hams. Solid wins to get there. And then the Beavers get the 5 seed with their win last week, and the K-Wheels sneak in with the 6 seed. But a dangerous 6 seed, dangerous. Round 1, we're looking like this. Number 3 seed Lizards with a 3-point advantage against the K-Wheels, and the number 4 Hams with a 3-point lead against the number 5 Beavers. Killers and Devils enjoy the bye week. For the Cash Bowl, so we have it. The Mongols and Sponge will enjoy a bye this week, while the Senators play the Boba Fats and the Aliens play the Ampac And I guess I took this for granted. I guess we don't award home field advantage in the cash bowl. Is that correct?
We don't really have rules for the cash bowl.
I should know the answer, I suppose. But
Yeah, I didn't know whether that was something. I guess I probably should. I've been there enough times, but I don't remember.
That is up to the discretion of the last place team. So,
All right.
I set it up for 3 points, but I'll have to contact Rob to see what he wants to do.
All right. Well, if we offer home field advantage, we'll need to get that in the site. And then because I have it, we got we'll see what these aren't necessarily the teams that are going to pick in these spots, but these are the owners of these draft positions as we go into the draft. The Fats have the number 1 overall. The Pack, Aliens, Senators, Sponge, Mongols. There you go. The rest will TBD based on some playoff finishes. We'll see how it goes.
thank you very much for your service this year.
Yes.
Okay, so let's go around the tube, and I guess the first order of business is making sure somebody is waking up Nick. It's time for the playoffs. And Chief, you hinted at this in the best and worst lineup moves. Somebody who wasn't paying attention might have done things a little differently. Nick is clearly paying attention. We give him a lot of grief. But this is a guy now, a team with 5 straight seasons in the playoffs, 4 division titles in those 5 seasons. He's the conference champion this year. And we're talking about an era that is way past, the time where people will say he got lucky getting Priest Holmes or lucky getting LaDainian Tomlinson. This is a new team with Alfred Morris and Matt Forte and obviously the stud quarterback and Drew Brees all along. Is it time to give Nick a little more credit?
No. I mean, listen, you want proof that Nick's paying attention, and this shocked me when I was going through the FAIR picks on Saturday. Nick used all his FAIR picks. I'm not sure it's ever happened before, or maybe it does, and we just assumed that he doesn't. Now, granted, 3 of them I think were on kickers, but the fact that he was dialed in enough to know that he needed to get a kicker or a defense or whatever it was. In the commission report right around week 5 or so, I was looking at, I think I was comparing the Senators to Dirt Devils and which one had a better shot at the playoffs. And I said then the Senators because the Dirt Devils are clearly the worst team in their division. I still believe that's true. I think the Beavers are a better team, and I think the Mongols are a better team. There's some injury issues, especially the Mongols, but no, I'm not going to give Nick more credit than I already given him this year. Congratulations to him, but no.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm torn. You can't deny the I think I railed on Nick this year too for the how many defenses and kickers he picked up. It's ridiculous, crazy. It was poor. It was mismanagement. But at the end of the day, he got it done this year, and his results. What did you just say? 5 years in a row?
5 straight years in the playoffs.
Yeah, and his pack bowls. Can't deny that.
Like you could say, maybe I gave him the first brick in his dynasty with LaDainian Tomlinson all those years ago, but it's no longer just about that. He's definitely picked up some key pieces to build a team that's made to win when it counts. And yeah, give him credit, Nick. Job well done.
Yeah, add Deshaun Jackson to this new group of Forte and Morris, and he's done it this year without Victor Cruz. Yeah, Chief, we talked about this in week 5, I remember, and I think I called it then. I thought the Devils would come back and take that division. It could have gone any of 3 ways.
No, I think they won their last 3 games to get there. But they did.
What was the Alfred Morris pick? Just going back in history here, was that a late first round?
Late first round, yeah.
It was like 7 or so, 7
or 8.
Yeah.
That was a pretty good pick that year.
See, he did the same thing with another guy who was huge for him. Picked him up late, Matt Forte. It was like the last of the first round rookie running backs to go. He did somebody else who's now since retired, and I can't recall who it was. maybe a Travis Henry kind of, no, it wasn't him though, but someone like that we got 5 or 6 years of good run out of, just waiting for everybody else to pick and taking who was left over.
Yeah. But even this year, right? So we talked about Nick's strategy earlier this year.
Yeah.
It'd be great to have Nick on as a guest. I can't wait for that. That will be an interesting interview. But anyhow. But he had the courage to take. He had the courage to take. He had the courage to take Macklin this year.
Yeah.
5th, right?
I think if
all those guys, all those rookies sitting out there.
Yeah. And that's Nick's strategy. He goes after the veteran, proven scorers who somehow drop a little bit in the first round. He did it again this year. So back to Alfred Morris was actually the exception. Alfred Morris being a rookie. And I remember telling Nick that year, we were talking about this. I was like, Alfred Morris.
Yeah, that was the year he drove down with us.
I think they're going to go with Royster over Morris or Halou. Was Halou the other guy? And they had 3 guys. So Nick took Morris at number 9. The Senators have got to be kicking themselves. It's a horrible pick that year at number 8 in Kevin Smith. Coming back from his injury, lasted all of like 2 games. Jacquizz Rodgers to the Hams at number 7.
After 2 trade downs.
Yeah. So great pick by Nick. And I hope he's watching this. I hope he now realizes he's in the playoffs. Nick, time to wake up and let's see if he has another Pac Bowl run in him.
Ding dong.
Wow, so Kramer missed out on somebody big that year too. Add that to missing out on picking Steven Jackson right before Watkins this year. And who did he pick right before Julio Jones?
Daniel Thomas.
Right.
Daniel Thomas.
AJ Green, I think.
Okay, let's move on to my next tube question. And this one has some playoff relevance. I promise we'll get to the 2 playoff games in a second, but I want to start a longer-term discussion here. If I were to ask you guys what the number 1 distinguishing feature of the TFFL is, what its most unique feature is, what would you say?
7 keepers. 7 keepers.
That was mine. Yeah.
How about our lineup structure? That's what I'm looking for. Give me something in our lineup structure.
Well, the 3 running backs, is probably rare in most.
That's what I figured. Okay. I think I figured that would be your number 1 answer is 3 running backs. We talk about that all the time.
No mandatory tight end is a little unusual.
That too. Yep. What is somewhat unusual for our league, not tremendously unusual, but I think it's very significant, is the quarterback getting 6 points. And we've had this on again, off again debate about the importance of quarterbacks versus the importance of running backs. Maybe running back as a position is more important, or certainly more is tougher to fill because you got to go get 3 or 4 or 5 good guys. But again, I want to keep coming back to this in our off-season discussions. If you don't have an elite quarterback, you're probably not making the playoffs in the TFFL. And looking at my team, looking at a lot of teams, Chief, you can jump in on this, I think. That's got to be the number 1 priority going forward, is trying to find your version of Andrew Luck or Aaron Rodgers. And Berto, your team's a little bit of an exception. Tony Romo isn't quite in that top 3 or 4 category, but he is a consistent fantasy scorer.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, it's funny because I had this argument again about the other league, but I'll mention that, and it's 4 points in that league, right? And I think it should be more. I happen to have Aaron Rodgers in that league, but I think it's fine, right? Because the drop off between, you have your elite guys, but I think, I've always kind of said if you have somebody who's consistent, like a Romo or when I had Rivers back in the day, you're in the game. And I think, like you said, we've talked about this, the importance of the quarterback. Yeah, I think it's huge, but to me, being able to put solid number 1 and number 2 running back out there and a number 1 and number 2 receiver, far more important because I think if you have a consistent quarterback that's going to stay healthy and not have terrible games like Romo did last year, that was an aberration, but he's pretty consistent for the most part. I think you're in good shape if the rest of your lineup looks strong. But on the reverse of that, going back to the Devils for a second, if you look at that team, I think Breeze has been a little bit of a deodorant for that team in some ways too. He hasn't gotten hurt. He's been able to pop him in the lineup all the time, and it hasn't been an issue, right? And he's put up huge numbers, and maybe it's covered some other deficiencies. So I don't know.
Yeah, just going on that, and this week was fairly typical. We're talking 34 of his team's 65 points coming off the right arm of Drew Brees. That's the way it's been going all year. So it's hard to argue anything other than get that top quarterback. But let's face it. There's three. There's Manning, there's Rodgers, and there's Brees, and that's it.
Andrew Luck.
There's four.
Throw Luck in there, and those four are all in the playoffs.
And that's it. And so if you don't have one, how are you going to get one? I mean, is Jay Cutler going to get better at this stage of his career? I think we can close the book on guys like Bob Griffin or Ryan Tannehill or I'll close the door on Blake Bortles already of becoming an elite fantasy quarterback. I mean, so what's the answer? I mean, clearly you can either draft whatever the top rookie is and hope he turns into one of those guys, which frankly is unlikely, or you got to compensate and get your points elsewhere. I mean, I'm 12th in receiver scoring for probably the 8th year in a row in this league for different reasons. This year because Jackson got old quick and Cooks got hurt. But, I mean, I've been forced to get points on running backs, and, you have a very narrow, margin there where if, someone gets hurt or if someone has a bad game, maybe they get down early, he only gets 4 carries for the game, you're not going to win.
Consistency is great. When you look at that lineup and you have 10s and 12s down the board and your quarterback gets 16, that to me is a beautiful week. Consistency. So I'll ask the question, would you rather have an Andrew Luck or an Aaron Rodgers, or for the next 5 years, let's say, or 2 number 1 running backs, 1-2 running backs even, that are going to stay healthy, and you have those guys for 5 years. At a 5-year time stamp, what would you rather have?
So let me put it in context. Okay, would I trade Jamal Charles and DeMarco Murray for Aaron Rodgers? And the answer is no, I would not.
No.
Because even if I didn't have Peyton Manning and I had to start Eli Manning, I'm talking about 10, 15 points. If I lose DeMarco Murray and Jamal Charles, I mean that's 30 points in my lineup. Hopefully, most weeks, and what I'm hoping for. So no, I wouldn't do that. It's 2 big pieces.
The key is you can always fill up. You can always you can always get one of the top. If you have 9, 10, 11, 12, it's going to hurt you, but you can survive it. You cannot survive it with shoddy number 1 and number 2 running back.
I don't know that the wheels are typical. Where any other team in the league can go to 1-2 like Jamal Charles and DeMarco Murray. As much as we talked about 4 elite quarterbacks, there's probably only 7 elite running backs who are true number 1 bell cow running backs right now. I mean, I tell you what, I will trade. I would trade right now. I'd trade LaShawn McCoy and Mark Ingram for Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, I'd take Aaron Rodgers in both of those equations. Yeah.
You take Aaron Rodgers over DeMarco Murray and Jamal Charles.
This is the point I'm making. Is I want one of those quarterbacks. I could go back to the days of Kurt Warner. That is so nice to have a guy like that at the top of your lineup.
Wow.
I would not trade. Those are 2 different trades too. DeMarco Murray and Jamal Charles.
Exactly. That's
LaShawn, from all due respect, are quite different.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would not do DeMarco Murray and Jamal Charles. No way.
No.
Or
No.
Aaron Rodgers.
No, I'm good. I'm good. Those guys are going to stay on my team for a while.
No way.
All right. Well, we're going to talk more about this as we look ahead to the off season. Let's get to our two games for this weekend. We got the K-Wheels and the Lizards. Let's start there. Lizards getting 3 points to start this game. Take a look at the lineups here on the site. Tell me who you like. Hank, what are you thinking?
Well, I mean, yeah, I'll go first or last, I guess, in this equation. I mean, look, I just lost to the Lizards this week by 14, and I'm going to basically put the same lineup on the field this week. I don't expect Trey Mason to have quite the game that he did last week. You know, Luck had a great week. You know, I put up 68 points last week. That's not horrible, but I think, you know, in the playoffs, you got to put up 80. You got to push 90, and you know, if it's a matter of, you know, I have good players. My team is capable of scoring 100 points, and they just got to do it. And you know, we're going to see. I don't love the matchups. You know, I got DeMarco Murray on Thursday against Chicago. You know, it's going to be there's some tough games there. Denver and Kansas City, right?
No, Denver's hosting Buffalo.
Sorry, Denver's. That's good. I'm happy with that. That's fine.
Andrew Luck goes on the road to Cleveland.
Yeah. The only way I see the Wheels losing this is if Luck and, you know, T.Y. Hilton have another, you know, T.Y. Hilton has 180 yards and 2 touchdowns, and, you know, maybe Luck has 4 total. I think Hank should win this comfortably.
God, I hope you're right.
Yeah. I like the Wheels too, and I think for the reasons you stated, Trey Mason isn't going to do what he did last week, and actually Luck doesn't have a great matchup. So Luck and Hilton against Cleveland.
Mm-hmm.
At Cleveland.
In Cleveland. Yep. Come on.
In Cleveland. Cleveland's number 4 against quarterbacks.
I mean, listen.
I mean, Manning doesn't have a great matchup either, but I think on balance, the rest of Phil's team is better. So,
yeah. I
think the Wheels pull it out.
Assuming this is the lineup that the Lizards are going to go with, right? Matt Asiata against Jets, you can't like that. You know, Heath Miller against the Bengals, you can't like that. You know, so right there, you're looking at, you know, 2 guys, so you can't plan on scoring much, if anything.
Yeah.
And yet you look at these teams, and the K-Wheels have lost how many straight?
I don't know, 4. No, I won 1. Didn't I just beat the Packers?
Yeah, we're one in the middle of that.
Yeah, I've lost several. I've lost like 4 of my last 5, and you know it's not been pretty recently.
5 of 6.
5 of 6. There you go.
5 of 6, and the Lizards obviously, and congratulations to them. They climbed up to a winning record, winning 3 straight to end the year. Hank, you got to be a little nervous about giving up 3 points to start this game.
Yeah, of course. Yes. I will be more nervous if DeMarco Murray doesn't get those back fairly quickly on Thursday night. If I'm going into Sunday not up some, I'm going to be concerned.
All right, second game, Beavers, Hams. Hams getting the 3 points here. Again, pull up their lineups here. Tell me who you like. And I'll tell you real quick. We're going to be waiting presumably until Monday night. Aaron Rodgers for the Beavers going up against Matt Ryan for the Hams. Both quarterbacks on Monday night.
That's a great matchup, having those guys playing, finishing it out. I mean, I like the Beavers. The Beavers have Aaron Rodgers going. Their team has been tough. They've been scoring lots of points usually. Yeah, I'm with the Beavers.
It's interesting that that Matt Ryan is back in the lineup. So Michael had Roethlisberger in last week. So we'll see what happens there. That'll be interesting. C.J. Anderson, wow, what a great pickup.
Yeah.
I was telling Stick, that's the type of move that you just, kicking myself that I didn't pick up C.J. Anderson on IR when I had him on my radar earlier, and that I didn't make a stronger Ralph, to be honest with you. that's the type of guy. That's the type of move, man. That you're just praying can do something, turn something positive for you in the playoffs. You know, that guy that you didn't have all year, and now you plug in a stud into your lineup that you didn't have, changes things dramatically. It's awesome.
Yeah, this game's gonna be very close,
Mm-hmm.
and it may come down to the +3 that the Hams are getting. Forced to choose, I would take the Beavers. You know, I've been saying all year that the class of the South, but this game's gonna be close.
Here's my prediction on this game. It comes down to the reserve lineups.
Wow.
It will be tied 75-75, and the Hams will win this on the back of Ben Roethlisberger in reserve.
I'm sorry. Be a little more specific if you don't want credit for that.
Back to Ben Roethlisberger. All right.
I don't think we've ever had
in the reserve lineup.
Have we ever had a playoff game go to a reserve lineup? I certainly don't think so.
That's a good trivia question for you. No, I don't
Very
think so.
close.
You should
A
be
couple
telling
years
us.
ago in a sponge matchup. Very close. I think it was that game was decided by home field advantage. I think they ended up being sponged by 2 in that game. But yeah, I remember late on Monday night or Sunday night, there's a Giants against somebody on either Sunday Night Football where we were looking at the reserve lineups. Where was
Yes.
on the website, on the chat room that night.
Maybe that'll be next week's trivia. The closest playoff game in league history. So real quick on the Hams, I mean, we'll keep coming back to this quarterback theme, but I think the key for them is, does Matt Ryan get at least 3 touchdowns, if not more? If he's not scoring a bunch of points, there's no way this team beats the Beavers. But he's got a chance to do it playing catch up with Green Bay.
You know, Frank Gore has a chance for a huge game. Best game of the season. We saw Oakland give up 50+ to the Rams. You know, mostly on the ground. You know, DeAndre Hopkins has a chance to have a huge game against Jacksonville. Watkins could have a huge game against Denver if that game starts going sideways early for Buffalo. Calvin Johnson can always have a huge game. I think this is going to be an extremely close game.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Calvin Johnson woke up on Thanksgiving. That's big.
It's interesting that the Beavers have LaFell and Jeffrey in the lineup this week at the expense of Jordan Matthews. So going against Seattle, that makes sense.
Yeah, Jeffrey very well could have been the worst lineup move of last week. It didn't really affect things, but good. Yeah,
Bill was kicking himself on Thursday after that.
Yeah.
Yeah, after Thursday, Sponge were looking strong.
Okay, let me give you the trivia answer or answers. Let's take it one at a time here. The team with the most consecutive seasons making the playoffs, active streak. Tell me who you got. You got the Devils, Giant Killers, and the Killers. Yeah, the Killers are the correct answer here. 6 straight seasons, Berto. Nice job. And the team that has missed the playoffs, the most consecutive seasons, you're going to feel bad for them. Senators? The Mongols?
Can I change my answer? I'll go with Boba Fett's.
And the Boba Fett. The Mongols. The Mongols, once again, is the answer to a trivia question. And 7 straight seasons now.
Oof.
Ouch.
And I do feel bad for them. They made some good moves, especially. I know we're all not Jay Cutler fans, but Jay Cutler was a good quarterback for them this year. When they needed
I was
to make
texting. Yeah, I was texting back and forth with Terry, and he was depressed, to say the least.
And it looked like they had that game.
Yeah.
It was almost like Drew Brees knew he was on the Devils and needed to keep doing them just enough.
Yep.
Yeah, I feel bad for them, but they're slowly climbing.
That's a
every year.
7-win team.
Yep.
Right? Better than I guess tied with the Lizards and the Hams, but you could make a very good case that they're better than 1/3 of the playoff teams.
Had they
Yeah.
won that game, they were the SoCo champs. I mean, they were that close to being the SoCo champs versus not being in the playoffs at all. So that's tough. They're a good team.
This is a team that went 6-7 in 2013, 7-6 this year. Next year, hopefully, it's 8-5, and they're in the playoffs.
I think all of us, and I've done it, as a public service announcement, send Terry a nice text or an email just to keep him off the ledge.
We love you, Terry.
That we're thinking about. He was not in good spirits.
And he shouldn't be. That was tough. It'll be okay. It'll be okay. We'll start talking about 2015 very soon, Terry. Chief, I know I don't think you have a rant for us this week, but I know there's we've already heard one reminder that you can reinforce.
Get your reserve lineups in, and I would have forgotten that if it hadn't been brought up already. Get them to me, get them to your opponent. Hopefully, they won't be needed. For the competitor's sake. You hate to see a team lose because of their fourth running back into as well as another team's fourth running back. But get them in. Congratulations again to all the playoff participants. I had hoped to come with a more meaty commissioner's report this week, but got overtaken by events, playoff preview kind of thing. But I think we hit it on this webcast, pretty well. It seems like the consensus is that the Wheels and Beavers advance. So we'll see how good the hive mind is as we go into this weekend's game.
Please be right. Please be right. Hive mind, come together. Wheels win.
Yeah, and whatever you send to Terry, save it. Save a draft. So you can send it to Hank if he should happen to lose the next couple rounds.
Yeah, please do.
Hank really needs this.
Yeah, he does. Hank is just.
He started with such a promise.
You seem to be doing okay.
What's that?
Chief seems to be doing okay despite barely missing the playoffs.
Yeah, well, Chief's drinking heavily.
I was going to say. Well done. Well
He's
done.
loaded. It's fine if the Wheels win one game. That's fine.
Yeah. We'll talk next week, Bert. I hope we have a really relevant talk next week, Bert.
Right. If for no other reason than a great webcast next week, let's root for K Wheels Killers.
Let's hope so. Yes, we will have a great webcast.
Yes.
I like the Killers' odds to make it that far.
Yeah.
We may need an extra hour on the webcast to go through that and fine detail.
You can do it without me.
All right.
All right, good. Well, I think this is our shortest webcast of the year.
By far.
But we're focused. Hey, Chief, I know there's still some time in your first year of service, but having concluded the regular season, well done. Thank you for your efforts. It's been a great year so far. Again, I'm sorry the Aliens aren't in the playoffs, but it's been exciting anyway. I hope we'll see you guys and see the whole league in the chat Monday night for the Hams and the Beavers, the Aaron Rodgers, Matt Ryan showdown. It's going to come down to Monday night. See you all there, and we'll be back here next Wednesday. Take care.
Excellent.
Good night.
Good night.